I've been in the mood.
In my kids, I think the one thing I tried to do that I never got from any of my parents was like the love, the comfort, the conversations and the hugging. Because like going to my mum and trying to sit down and having a conversation with her, that like didn't really happen in my household. Or like trying to give my mum a hug and say I love you is kind of unfamiliar. But it's kind of weird now because now my mum does it more so. She gives me a hug and she says I love you, but when she says it, it sounds very foreign.
I always used to swear up and down, I used to tell mum, I'm never gonna be like you. That I am the carbon copy of my mother. Like I feel like, obviously in some respects it's had to alter because we live in different times now. It's not like we were before. But the core principles, I think so. I think it is. I think you naturally do what you know. Like
of course.
I don't think I could have adapted a different parent. I'd have to force myself to adapt to different parenting styles.
Yeah, that's why childhood is such a scary thing. Because you get that whole children have witnessed things that are not great, and then they end up doing it as parents for their own kids, but they didn't enjoy it. So why are they doing it now? But it's
just you do what you know, kind of thing.
My daughter is my first daughter. She's a lot more sensitive, a lot more emotional. So if I want to tell her off, she responds better to me having a conversation with her. So I talk to her about her behaviour and what mummy doesn't like, as opposed to just shouting or whatever. When I shout or tell her off in that kind of, like just abrupt way, she gets a lot more frightened and gets a lot more teary. But when I explain things to her, she then registers it, and then she's like, okay, mummy, I'm not going to do that again. And then she'll actually remind me when she's done it. Like she goes, oh, mummy, remember I said I'm not going to do that and I didn't do it. And for me, I feel that's a lot better than when I was growing up. I was just getting shouted at left, right and centre, not understanding what the hell is going on and what have I done wrong.
What's similar is the need for children to be respectful. And so my mum didn't back down when it came to how respectful I was. So to a certain extent, I was allowed to be fairly free and do whatever I can do. But where it crossed the line of me starting to be disrespectful to her, to my siblings, to older people, I wasn't allowed to do that. And that's exactly how I am with my children. My children have to, at all times, I put my foot down with this. They have to be respectful. They have to have their manners. They have to say their pleases and their thank yous. And for me, it's just non-negotiable.
Looking back on how my parents did, I feel like, okay, it's not easy. It's not easy. We're not saying it's hard, but it's challenging. And you understand that, okay, your parents try their best, and that's what you have to do.
When you have a child, you understand the type of stress that you understand that sleep is essential. You understand that sleep is very essential. Oh my days. It's like when mum and dad are always sleeping, mummy, why are you always sleeping? No, like I get it. But I also understand that there's times when it's like, no, it's necessary. There's times when, I'll be real with you, there's times when baby's happy, baby's energetic, and you are drained. And it's like, when you're like seeing some people like, oh, how come you never play with your child? Like, you don't understand what that person's been through. You don't understand what he might have been doing before.
A good one that I do, like I'm not gonna lie, like you see the all-in-ones, when they're younger and they have the all-in-ones, they get a bit older and it doesn't like fit them. You cut the feet off and it becomes still a onesie, but it's just footless.
And you've got the, so like the full length, then you get through cutter.
Yeah, you can do them styles. You can even cut the arm if you want it to match the style. You can do them style.
Looking like, when the Hulk breaks out of his clothes.
And when they get older, download all of the apps, the kid passes, the this, that and the other, especially during holidays.
Kids go free.
Kids go free. Don't don't turn your eye on any of those things. They actually
and just brand names in general. Do you understand? So even with food, it's like the Cocoa Pops and the chocolate pops. Buy the chocolate pops. It's £70.
Yeah, it's
they're not bothered by those kind of things. It's not going to be like, oh, it's a brand thing. I think while they like that, make the most of it, because we all get the 16-year-old boy like, Mama want TNs, Mama want Paper Max.
So while they don't care about brands,
when I want to give you Paper Max instead of like, it's one of the things.
Main focus is making sure your baby's warm and comfortable.
Yeah, man.
Like your baby's not gonna know this is from Primark, this is Ralph Lauren, this is Gucci. Your baby's not gonna know that. Like, Only person that's gonna know that is you and the person in the house that comes to see the baby at the
Most
time.
likely the women piss on porn.
Exactly. Oh my days. There's so much clothes.
Yeah,
where I remember
yeah.
like went to a wedding and I put him in very, very nice, bow ties, like nice clothes. The guy when we went into the cab, he pooed straight into the clothes, and like that's it. The whole thing's gone. The whole thing's done. Like, it's like you realise how much of a waste it can be.
Things that can help you. You've got childcare vouchers. You've got the 30 hours free, and you've got the tax-free childcare as well, which is really helpful. So those are free options you can use when going through your childcare, because it's bloody expensive. I don't understand how nurseries or kids eat up the amount that you pay for childcare. It makes no sense to me, but hey.
You have to kind of raise a boy sometimes in a certain way. You have to raise a girl in a different way. But yeah, I mean, it's a sensitive topic.
Even for me, I think the main focus should be love always.
Yeah,
That should be the main way you raise your child anyway. And whether you have a boy or a girl, I believe that you raise them differently, but not in a sense where you raise one better than the other. You just let them, for me, let them understand like you are a boy, you are a girl, you're going to be perceived in a certain way, but make sure you're comfortable within yourself, make sure you know yourself as you grow older, and if you need anything, don't be afraid to ask me, and I'm here to let you know that one, you're beautiful and that like your parents love you, and two, like you might find other stuff interesting as a boy or as a girl, and that's also fine, but that girl and boy are not the same. For me, they're not the same.
Absolutely not.
No.
It does more harm than good. I feel like previous generations and even our current people my age mates, sometimes I can see the differences between in one home. I can see how brothers and sisters differ, and it doesn't help. An example might be when the daughter went to uni, she could cope quite well, she could cook for herself, but then when the younger brother went to uni, he fell apart because he was never given any responsibility.
They shouldn't, but they are. But they shouldn't. I would want my son to be as self-sufficient as I believe my daughter should be able to do. If I hand my daughter a dustpan and brush to go and sweep, he will be getting a hoover and he's going to go and hoover the rest. He should be able to know how to cook, he should be able to do those things. He should also, if I'm going to raise my daughter to be a wife, I'm raising him to be a husband.
This is literally what I was going to say, because that's the most obvious one, because they will instill this in little girls, like girls will be 5, 6, 10, planning their dresses, the weddings.
You need your suit.
Exactly. You two go and find your suit.
If that's what I'm going to hold it to. But if I'm going to say my son's going to be a lawyer, a doctor, she's going to be an engineer or a pilot or something, like I think that's what you naturally it doesn't happen because we've been raised in a way that it's like different for boys and girls. But I've also grown up and realised how useless men can be because they were raised in such a way, or that their mums decided that they were the pampered prince or my prince and my king, and they don't know how to treat another living person, don't know how to look after themselves, and are hoping for my child that I raised to come and look after them. You're crazy.
At the end of the day, it's a man's world. A man can't do what a woman can do. So a woman needs to be brought up to know that. A woman needs to be brought up to know that obviously eventually you're gonna have a husband one day, but at the same time you shouldn't rely on a man. And a man should be brought up to know that you're gonna have a family one day, you need to learn how to be a provider. So I think you're in it.
Yeah, 100% agree with that statement. Having both, it's weird because when I had Adriel, it was like those things that I would embed in her from a young age, like learn how to eat yourself, brush your teeth yourself, and do your own thing. But now I have Zeke, it's a bit mad because I tried to do the same thing that I did with her, but it wasn't working. He's a whole different kettle of fish, his own personality, his own attitude. So I'm trying to bring them up the same, but at the same time different. But like you said, they should have different values in terms of the man needs to learn how to support the family and the girl needs to learn how to be independent and do her own thing and not rely on everyone else.
I don't know if it's the best, but it's the most practical. I think the most easiest, probably comfortable.
Yeah.
Because you guys can help each other, you know. So it's quite like you bounce off each other, whether it's ideas, compromising, making sure the baby is right, you know. Oh, what do you think if I do this for? Rather than like, oh no, do it, or no, don't do it. You know, it helps, you know, that it helps the actual growth of the baby, and it helps you guys' relationship understand what each other's perspective of raising someone is. Whether that's the best or not, I think that's another
Subjective.
Yeah, because you know, I'm sure we've seen cases where, you know, there's only one single parent and the child's
fine. Yeah, no, I agree.
And there's a couple married and yet the child is somehow.
I think it's better in a 2-parent home. I grew up in a single parent home, just my mum, obviously, like I stated before. And I mean, I have my reasons for wanting a 2-parent home. One reason being, it does make things a heck of a lot easier. Like in terms of childcare, for example, I do the drop-offs, my wife does the pickups. If she can't do one, then I have to do both. Like if no one's there, it becomes a whole kettle of fish trying to get someone to try and get your kids. And another thing is the values. They see values from 2 couples, 2 people who love each other, and they want the same thing when they grow up. You get what I mean? They want a partner that they can have the rest of their lives with. And they just learn from both people, and they get 2 personalities from both people as well. I think it would have been nice if my dad was there, you get what I mean? I'm not saying I'm lost out in anything, but there are some things that I had to learn myself, and it would have been easier if the guy was there.
I didn't have a dad, but my uncle is essentially my dad. Like I was born on my uncle's birthday, so that cemented the fact that we're so close. So like when I eventually get married, God willing, boyfriend if you're listening, God willing, my uncle's gonna walk me down the aisle. So that's something that I'm not really gonna miss out on. And like my uncle, he took me to uni. Like he's the person that my mum reported me to when I was acting a fool. So I don't feel like it's not impossible.
No, it's not impossible at all.
I'm gonna be biased because it's what I know.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you. After having like 3 kids, the ideal situation is to have a mum and a dad. That's not to say that you can't do it alone. There's some, situations happen, but there's some people who are great at being single mums and they're doing a fantastic job, and there's some people who are great at being single dad and they're doing a fantastic job and they're taking on both roles, and I commend them for that. It's amazing. But obviously I'm sure they would also agree that they would like their children to have a mum and a dad. You want to be able to go to your mum for this and you want to be able to go to your dad for this. So to be able to have both parents, I think that's that's the ideal situation. If you can't, that's not a problem. That's not to say you're going to turn out any different.
No,
not necessarily. No.
I was raised with one. I had a stepfather when I was about 10, like 11, I think so. And then and that was nice. But he lived in Amsterdam, and obviously we lived in London. So it was nice to have like a male person to go to and someone to call dad and be like, oh, mum's been out of order and this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
But I feel like I revered like strength in women because she was doing it like solo. Like I thought like she's had to take on both like tasks. It's not that it's easier, but it's nice to be like, I can't make it to this recital today, so we're gonna send dad to go. She had to make sure that she would be there, and she would feel guilty and feel bad if she wasn't. So I feel like you can have 2 people and they can be completely useless, and then you have a useless child. Or you can have one person who's like super mum, super dad, and then they manage to do it. And it's not even based on gender. I don't think it could be a mum or a dad. You can be a single mum or a dad. As long as you are parenting how you need to parent, That's all they
It could be
need.
the simplest things, like without knowing me or you, people just look at statistics. Because I grew up with both parents and they're still together now, but I still fell pregnant at 17. So,
Yeah.
but they might say to you, statistics will say, you know,
Single parent.
you know,
Yeah.
she's more likely to, you know, a male role model wasn't around. So in terms of interacting with men and what to look out for, she might not have had that. My father was there. I stood there. You didn't tell me.
What makes me feel sexy? A nice haircut, 7 buttons undone, shirt, cleavage out, showing.
Life will get sweeter for me. Love always finds a way.